Hello and welcome to this information talk about the English Literature degree at Liverpool Hope University. My name's Dr. Alice Bennett. I'm a senior lecturer in English Literature at Hope, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the ways that we teach the course and give you some information about our curriculum and what makes us different from other universities. So I'm going to begin by introducing English literature and how it fits into the university as a whole. So English literature is within the English subject area. So we sit alongside creative writing, English language, and media and communication. If you're taking a combined honours degree with us, you might take one of those other subjects as your combination. The English subject area is within the School of Humanities, which includes other subjects such as history, law, philosophy, theology, religious studies, politics. And humanities is based at our Hope Park campus in Childwall in Liverpool. Childwall's in a really lovely leafy part of suburban Liverpool with lots of parks around it. Beyond the campus, there are lots of independent shops and cafes. It's a really nice place to live, really walkable. And you're close to the centre of town. You can get there on a short journey on public transport to get into the centre of the city, where there are lots of cultural opportunities available to you in museums and art galleries, music venues, theatres. So Liverpool's a wonderful place to live, and it's a great place to study literature. So we offer English literature as a combined honours and as a single honours degree. So a combined honours degree involves 50% of literature and 50% of your other subject. So all of our combined honours degrees are 50-50 weighting, so you're split between the two subjects. You can also study English literature as a single honours course where your whole course is English literature. Our curriculum at Hope is unusual because we don't run a modular curriculum like many other universities. Instead, we run what we call an integrated curriculum. What this means for us is that the way that students progress through their degree is not by choosing a selection of different courses, so like being at a buffet and choosing from the different options, but instead we plan out the course so that the 3 years build upon each other. And what this means for students is that your knowledge is really carefully scaffolded. You develop skills in your first, second, and third years, which build upon each other. And for us as lecturers, it's easy for us when we stand in front of a classroom to know exactly what students have studied in the past, so that we're not always teaching everything again from first principles because students are coming from different subjects and different pathways. Instead, we know what they've done in the years or terms before, and we can structure the knowledge and the understanding and the skills to make sure that they're able to tackle new challenges. So I'm going to introduce a little bit of how we teach. At Hope, we organise our teaching into 3 forms in English literature. So some of these forms might be more familiar to you than others. So if you imagine teaching at university, I think you probably imagine people sitting in a big lecture hall, listening to somebody talking to them. And we certainly do that. So you'll usually have a few lectures a week to introduce you to topics and concepts, to get the big picture of ideas. We also, like most other English literature degrees, teach through the seminar format, which is a medium-sized group of people, usually meeting to talk about a specific text, to develop some skills in reading and analysis, and to share your thoughts with other students. At Hope, we also rely on another method of teaching, which is the tutorial. And that's normally around 10 people or fewer. And in our tutorial groups, we use this as our small group mode of teaching so that these groups can be student-led, so that students are able to pursue their own interests in the tutorials, but also as a way of offering pastoral support and making sure that we're able to really get to know our students well. So one thing that I think is unusual about our teaching is the way that we use these small groups as the linchpin of the teaching. So you'll have a named personal tutor who's attached to your tutorial group, and you'll be with the same people every week for the whole academic year. So you'll get to know a small group of other students really well, and your tutor will get to know you really well too. So personal tutors are involved in support for students, in talking to them about their plans after they finish university, and providing those kinds of personalised support, which really helps with the transition into university in the first year too. So if you were imagining yourself as a first year student studying English literature at Hope, you might want to think about what you would be doing in an average week. So normally in an average week of teaching, you would be taking either two different subjects or two strands, what we call Core 1 and Core 2 of English literature. So in our Core 1 strand, this is the strand that everybody takes, whether you're a single honours student or a combined honours student, you would spend 6 hours studying that strand. And that would break down into 2 hours of lectures each week, 3 hours of seminars, and an hour tutorial. But we'd also expect you to be very busy outside of that time, reading and thinking and writing. So we'd expect you to be undertaking independent study outside of those times when you're in taught sessions. So if you were taking the single honours course in English literature, we would expect you in total, so with Core 1 and Core 2, in total to have 12 hours contact time each week in your first year. But if you're a combined honours student and you're taking English literature with another subject, it's possible that your contact hours would be different. So you might be doing something technical like studying film, spending more time learning production skills. You might be taking a subject which involves labs or performance activities, all of which will mean that you end up with a higher number of contact hours in your first year. So there are differences depending on which subject you're studying. But for us in English literature, our standard amount is 6 hours a week. You do twice that if you're a single honours student. So we'd expect to see you face to face for around 12 hours a week. So one of the things which is different about university study is the amount of time that you'll spend working independently, and that can sometimes be a bit of a challenge as you go into your first year. So one of the things that we do in your tutorials is give you support with managing your time and thinking about how you'll develop study plans for yourself. Each of your tutors has drop-in hours during the week when we expect to see students coming to see us and talk to us about their progress. There are always opportunities for you to meet one-to-one with your tutors, and that's how we get to know you well, and we're able to support your development across the 3 years of study. So I'll talk a bit about assessments, because some of the ways that we assess will be quite familiar to you. Writing essays, sitting exams where you'll usually write an essay in your exam time. We also assess by some methods that might be new to you. So we use portfolios, which gather together a selection of different tasks to help you build and develop specific skills. So for example, you might have a portfolio which asks you to develop a small number of research tasks and then build those into a larger piece of writing. We also, through the 3 years, scaffold students into presentation skills. So we believe that verbal communication skills are really important and that they don't necessarily come naturally, and students have to be taught how to develop those skills. So in our final year, one of our capstone assessments is that students participate in a research conference where they present a formal paper in an academic format based on their own research. So they complete independent research projects or dissertations in their final year of study. And during the 3 years, we have a series of formative and assessed presentations to help students develop the skills that they'll need for that final assessment. And we also think that those skills are really important graduate level skills, because students need, in many of the jobs that they go on to be able to be articulate and confident, to explain their ideas and to communicate well, to speak and to listen. In the final year of the degree, students also complete a dissertation or a research project, which allows them to develop skills in project management, in forming their own independent research ideas, and of course also to pursue something that they're really passionate about. So one of the exciting things about doing this job is that I'm able to help students find the thing that they're really excited about and give them the tools to pursue it. So students in their final year develop independent research projects within the field of literature. So they work on lots of different genres and periods, ask all kinds of interesting questions about how literature is made and how it works and what it means. So let me talk through the 3 years of our curriculum so that you can get a sense of how all of these pieces fit together. So I'm going to talk in more detail about the first year and then give you a sense of where the second and third years follow on from there. So the aim of our first year is to give students the tools that they'll need to transition into university study and to prepare them for the work that they'll do in the second and third years, as well as developing a portfolio of skills which are going to be useful for them in whatever they want to do when they finish their degree. So in the core 1 strand, which all students take, so whether you're a single honours or combined honours student, we introduce students to the major genres, forms and modes of literature. So give them the tools for analysing poetry, prose fiction and drama. We also run a writing workshop tutorial, which runs alongside the lectures and seminars to support students' academic writing and to support their transition into university study. So students meet each week in a small group with a tutor who's there to offer them pastoral support, general support with their well-being and to make sure they're okay as they transition into university, but also to give them the skills to be confident writers, which is a really important tool that they'll need in the rest of their degree. In the single honours strand, which students take if they're studying English literature as a single honours degree, this is core 2, students study a big sweep of literature ranging from ancient literature in the epic tradition right through to contemporary works from the present day. And what we do in that course is identify tropes and legacies between texts so that students can learn about literary influence and intertextuality. Alongside the lectures and seminars, we also run a tutorial that's called Reading Matters, which gives students the knowledge and the experience of debates about English literature as a subject. So we want to open up students' understanding of why English literature is an important degree for them personally, but also why it might be, why the skills that they learn might be important for the world around them. The second year builds on the first year's study and takes a series of different historically focused approaches. So we look at different periods from literary history, give you the historical context and background that you'll need in order to understand texts and to think about the ways that those literary texts form a constellation with other texts from the time. So there are elements of choice in the second year. So our tutorial strand focuses on a selection of different major authors. These usually change each year and are drawn from the research expertise of the people teaching you. So one of the things that's different about university study is that you'll be taught by people who are researching and publishing within their field. So for example, you might take a major authors course option with my colleague, Dr. Ferguson, who has been working on Thomas Hardy, and she would take you through a course on the work of Hardy, drawing on her own research expertise. In the single honours strand at Core 2, the tutorial focuses on archival research and publishing history and allows us to draw on some of the university's library special collections, which I'll talk more about in a moment. Then finally, in the third year, we have other courses which focus on specific periods of literature, from literary modernism through to the literature of the mid-20th century. And then in the second and third terms of the core 1 part of the degree, we have different options which change every year, again based on staff research specialisms, so you're able to choose what you would like to study in the final terms of the degree. You'll be completing an independent research project or a dissertation, and in Core 2, single honours students will also continue their studies in book history, drawing on the library special collections and on staff research interests in the history and future of the book. So these are how the 3 years of the degree fit together. You can see that there are some strands which develop through the 3 years and which therefore build on the knowledge and skills that you've had from your previous years of study. So I've mentioned the library special collections, and it's one of the major resources that we're able to draw on as part of our teaching. We use the special collections for teaching in every year of our single honours course. And so we're able to use rare and early books as part of our teaching. We train students in document handling, so they're able to go into the special collections and physically handle these very rare and precious materials. And our librarians are able to support their learning and to give students the resources and the skills that they need in order to be able to work with these materials. So we use them in our second year archival research and publishing history courses, and in the final year course on the history, theory and future of the book. So we're very fortunate to have fantastic special collections, and we're only able to access them for teaching because of the small group teaching that we do. It's unusual at undergraduate level to have access to these kinds of materials because they're very special and precious, but also because you need to have small groups of students in order to be able to manage bringing them into archives and special collections like this. So I want to go on and think about what students do when they finish their degree with us. So what we're aiming for our students is for them to find graduate level employment which is fulfilling and which involves taking on useful work in the world. So we want students to be aiming high and identifying the work that needs to be done to make a contribution to the world around them. So we know that English literature is what we could think of as a passport degree. So unlike vocational degrees where students come onto the course with a clear sense of the job they want to do when they finish, English literature opens up opportunities rather than making them more focused. And so what this means for our students is that during the course of their studies, it's really important for us to have conversations about what students want to do, where they might end up, the kinds of things which they find compelling and interesting and which motivate them. So we use a lot of tailored activities which are targeted specifically for students within the School of Humanities or within English literature itself to support their graduate employment and to make sure that they've had opportunities to investigate different kinds of possibilities for what they might do when they finish. So the kinds of work that our students go into is sometimes work which requires further postgraduate training. So some students go on to master's courses in things like journalism or taking a postgraduate certificate of education to become a teacher. We also see students who go straight into work through graduate schemes. So English literature as a passport degree allows you to go onto a graduate scheme and select different areas that you might want to work in, like project management or HR or marketing, building on the skills that you've developed in your degree. We also see some students who go on to further academic study. So some students go on to study English literature as a master's degree at Hope or elsewhere. We also offer some more vocationally focused master's degrees. So we have a master's degree in English literature with professional writing, and an integrated master's degree in humanities, which has a work placement within it. So there are lots of different options for students when they complete their studies. And as a really open-ended degree, one of the things that's distinctive about studying a humanities subject like English literature is that it gives students the flexibility throughout their working life to come back to the skills from their degree. So if they decide that they want to career change 10 years after finishing their degree, they're still drawing on the skills that they've learned from their studies, even if they're not doing the job that they anticipated they would do 10 years after they graduate. They change their mind after they've graduated. So I want to talk a little bit about some of our students. So I've got a quotation here from Hannah, who's a current third year English literature student. She's currently in the throes of dissertation writing, and she's reflecting here on some of her time at Hope. I'd asked her to try and think about what she thinks makes her university experience different from the experience of her friends. And she said that one of the things that she felt was distinctive about studying English literature with us was the personal element to her teaching. So she said that she felt that her tutors were invested in her success and that they were able to give her the kind of attention and support that she needed in her studies. And from our point of view as tutors, it's great to be able to take such a close interest in individual students' progress. So as a personal tutor, I'm able to get to know my first year students really well, to help them with any problems that they might be having as they transition into university study. And by the time they get to the third year, I'm able to work with students really closely to write really informed references for them, to give them advice, and to talk through with them different options for what they might do when they finish their degree, and to help them identify their strengths and the things that they can work on to make progress towards their personal goals. So let me close by talking a bit about some of the things that we do beyond the classroom. So we're keen to make our degree a rich and exciting experience. And to do that, we are interested in drawing on all the resources that we have available to us in Liverpool and in the local area in Merseyside. So the university has partnerships with some substantial cultural institutions in the city, such as the Philharmonic, Tate Liverpool, the Athenaeum, and so we're able to use the resources of these institutions to take students to visit and to have experiences beyond the classroom. We also take students on field trips elsewhere in the UK. So we've in previous years taken students to London regularly to go and visit places such as the Globe Theatre or to take a literary walk in Bloomsbury. We've taken students to the Lake District, to Dove Cottage. The university also has a property in Snowdonia National Park in Wales, a mansion house which is called Plas Caerdion, which is run as an outdoor activity centre, and we take students there to do some team building and community building activities where they get to do some outdoor pursuits activities, but we also use that space as a retreat centre. So we've taken students on writing retreats to the university's property in Wales. It's an absolutely beautiful part of the country. You can see in the image here, taking students up into the mountains to go and get some headspace and fresh air is a fantastic thing to be able to do. We've also been really fortunate to be able to welcome visiting speakers to the department. So we've been able to invite well-known writers such as the crime novelist Ian Rankin, the prize-winning writer Marilynne Robinson, to come and give public lectures at the university. We also host an annual poetry reading each year when well-known poets come and speak to an audience at the university. We also host academic conferences and study days, which are open for students to attend, to come and hear leading figures within their field. So there are lots of opportunities for students to enrich their learning beyond the classroom. And we want to offer an experience of university study, which gives students lots of diverse opportunities to engage with different ideas and to have different experiences as part of their degree. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, there are some different ways that you can make contact. If you email the inquiry email address, if you've got specific questions about the English literature degree, if you mention the name of the degree in your email, the administrators on that email address will be able to pass on your information to one of the members of staff in the subject team, and we can help you out and see if we can give you more information about particular aspects of the curriculum or the way that we teach in our subject. Okay, thanks very much for your attention.